Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this latest Insight Legal webinar. And this week, we're going to be focusing on email and document management. My name is Josh Dallywell, and I'm one of two hosts on this call today. I'm currently joined by my colleague, Stephen Minor, who many of you who are Insight Legal customers may already be familiar with. Good afternoon, Stephen.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Excellent. I also have my colleague, Nathan, who will be monitoring the chat and QA boxes on Zoom for your questions. A quick reminder that this webinar is being recorded, so we will be making a copy available to everyone who's registered by, and they'll get a copy of the recording by email, and that'll be a link to the video on YouTube. I think it'll be probably late today or tomorrow that email goes out to everyone. If this is your first time joining Insight Legal for one of our webinars, there is a page on our website where you can access recordings of our previous sessions. And if you head over to insightlegal.co.uk and you click on the top right, I believe it is, the community tab on the homepage, and then onto events, you'll see a list not only of our previous webinars, but also upcoming events as well, including the next webinar we have, which will be on advanced legal accounts, which takes place on December the 14th. And in that one, we'll be talking about automations and integrations to improve and speed up your accounting process. You'll see on the screen in front of you some of the ones that we've covered recently. So get time recording. We did a big one on the SRA and AML kind of compliance. And also there's one on there on webinars, so on workflows as well. Stephen, do you want to quickly introduce yourself? I know we have a real mix of clients and non-clients on this webinar, so there may be a fair few who aren't already aware of your role at Insight, or I guess you've kind of you've ensured that everyone can see that you work at Insight Legal there.
Yeah, I've gone over branded probably today, but yeah, so good afternoon, everybody. So my name's Stephen Minor. I work in the sales side within Insight Legal. So just a bit of background on myself. I've been in the legal software market for a large number of years, about 10 years coming up to now. So I've worked with multiple different firms, ranging from sort of the sole practitioner up to multinationals. And really one of the focuses I've been looking at is really how organizations can really become more efficient by utilizing the technology they have on a day-to-day basis.
Excellent. Thanks.
And that's myself.
And have you not got the Insight Legal now?
Yeah, I have actually as well. If I can see that, there we go. I have to remind myself of where I am.
And I think just quickly again for the benefit of everyone, I think half the people that we've got registered for this webinar today are non-Insight Legal clients, so welcome. And in terms of, I guess, a quick bit of background on us, Insight Legal is a legal software company, and we typically work with practice managers, finance managers, and senior partners in law firms, anywhere really from kind of sole practitioners to businesses of a few hundred people. Now, when clients are looking or coming to us as a legal software company, some of the things that they typically tend to tell us is that they're either currently annoyed with the lack of support they receive from their existing supplier. They sometimes feel powerless, being held hostage to unfair, unexpected and unbudgeted price increases, or being tied to multi-year contracts, and in some cases being non-compliant due to being forced to use software that's either unsuited or you're running multiple softwares systems to essentially run one function. If that sounds familiar to any of you, then please drop us a line and we'd be happy to try and help. Now, what do we have in store for you today? I'm going to start by looking at what the problem is that we're trying to address here when you don't use case management properly and when you don't have a solution to your document management. And I will be handing over the controls to my colleague Stephen to show you some of the kind of ways that Insight Legal helps with email and document management. A quick reminder that if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat or QA functions on the Zoom toolbar. And if you're unsure about where that is, just kind of move your cursor around and it should pop up either at the top or the bottom of your screen. We'll try and address everyone's questions during this live session. And if they're very specific, we may kind of pick those up after this call. Okay, this webinar is being recorded, but questions submitted aren't being shared with the other audience members, so please feel free to ask in confidence. Okay, so kind of let's start by looking at what the problem is. Okay, and the first one of those I want to highlight is repetition. Okay, and by repetition I mean the action of repeating something that has already been done. It could have been done once, done twice, or done a million times. And what we're talking about here is often the most menial of tasks that most fee earners will do, sometimes without thinking twice about, particularly if it's something that you've done so often that you accept it as part of your daily routine without thinking twice about. And these can sometimes be quite low value tasks, such as sending out a client care letter. And I want to acknowledge here that not everyone has the privilege of a support team or administrative staff to help you produce documents. And for those that were on the time recording webinar earlier this month will have heard me repeat, as I do so often, that time is money and money is time. And if you don't have a templated process for producing documents, what you're essentially doing is wasting time, which could be spent more effectively on tasks that utilize your unique skill set. Okay, if saving time isn't your motivator, maybe having a healthier work-life balance is. If you could save 10 minutes of your time every time you produce a letter, multiply that by the number of times you're producing, you're producing a letter each week. That could be 20, it could be 30 times, and suddenly find you've saved yourself a few hours in each week. And in both of these areas, we're not talking just about the time taken to produce an email or document, but then also filing it and storing it, whereby it can then also be easily found at a later date in time. Either by you or a member of the firm, without them necessarily having to wait to contact you to get a copy of it, because there's a copy sitting of it on your desktop where no one else can access it. Okay, I spoke to one firm recently who copy and paste emails into a Word document to store them on a central server that everyone has access to. What if you have multiple matters open with a particular client? Are you able to file documents according to the matter and not just the client? Okay. And, I guess, yeah, a quick question here, and I guess this includes the panelists. Has anyone here ever been guilty of sending an email to the wrong person? You start typing the email address of the recipient into Outlook, and it already thinks that it can, auto fills in the details of the rest of the email address, except, you might have, half a dozen people called Chris Smith, who are your clients. At least in my case, it was quite a simple "Hey, how are you?" email, but obviously, in some cases that could be, quite risky, sending the details or a letter to the wrong recipient. And I guess kind of one of the things that I guess I did just kind of touch upon just a minute or so ago, it isn't just about producing documents, but ensuring that whatever gets produced, you have a copy of, and that can be found, it can be shared, it can be revised, it could be stored remotely, and you have access to copies on the go. It could be as you're waiting to go into court, in the back of a taxi, from a mobile device, etc. And ultimately, any kind of document or communication management should be geared towards making you more productive. Okay. Stephen, I guess at this point, I'm going to, hand over the screen share to you. And I think you want to start by looking at kind of, the Insight integration with Outlook. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, I will do. So if I just share my screen first of all, if that's okay, Josh.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for that introduction, Josh. the purpose really today is just to give you a bit of an overview of how, the system inside can really help you improve those efficiencies. Now, I go and speak to clients on a daily basis, and I probably get a lot of these buzzwords, which you may or may not use yourself, such as we want to go paper light, we want to go paperless, we want to reduce our workload, we want to become more efficient. But ultimately, what we're looking at is efficiency, which should translate into profitability, and really is looking to take away, I suppose, some of that logistics and really enable everybody to focus on where they add value to the particular file, to the particular client and the business. So the plan today is really just to give you an overview, cover some of the key areas, but what should be borne in mind is, as a solution, as a system, we really understand that to help efficiency, people have their own unique way of working, and if the system doesn't work on how they want to work, that efficiency is negated. So within our system, there's multiple ways to do probably the same kind of action, and that gives the individual the choice to work out within the solution whatever way works best for themselves. So let's start looking at it. So Josh mentioned things like repetitive actions. So probably on a data basis, there's 5 or 6 key actions you do on a regular basis, and we want to really make those efficient and effective. So let's take it down to the most simple thing, is sending an email to the client. What I've done here is I've created a sort of standard file. It's a conveyancing file. There's a Mr. and Mrs. on this one. They're looking to buy a house. And very simply, I just want to send them an email. What I don't want to do is have to go into multiple different systems, click here, click there. And again, that's all waste time. I just very simply want to do one click on the system, and this will integrate with my Outlook. It will open up my Outlook. And it's done a number of things here, again, to really make the day-to-day sending of emails nice and easy. The first thing I'll just point out, as Josh mentioned, is we've all been there where we send the wrong email to the wrong person. The beauty of this way, it simply populates the email address which I clicked on, but it also gives me here the option to email any third parties or any partners within the system who I want to send an email to as well. So again, it still takes away that concern of who I'm going to email. What I can also do is give me the option to have a look at the whole file, so I can see all the documents, all the emails I've raised. I can now attach them. And again, this removes the need of trying to find the email. I've scanned it, I've saved it somewhere. Where is it? I've got to attach something, all in one place, all nice and easy. So for example, if I just want to send the client care guide in this case, I can simply click on it. Or more importantly, as we know, we don't really want to send our clients Word documents because they may have a habit of maybe changing things. So I can simply right click, attach this to the email as a PDF. And what I'll simply do is put the email there. It's a simple Outlook email, so I can type my email as I wish, and my email's done. So that whole process has literally taken seconds. A couple of things I just also mention is creating the emails I've done in this way is put a little identifier in there. So we can see there's put the file number. I can put a heading I wish to. The beauty of doing this way is should that client respond to my email, as they may well do, it will also put that into my Outlook system, so I can see it in my inbox, but it will also automatically file that email into Insight. So again, takes away another stage of process, which we may either forget to do, don't want to do, or may distract us from doing our work.
And it's probably worthwhile mentioning here, just very quickly, Stephen, obviously on the right-hand side there, you've kind of got the, I guess, kind of Insight Legal plugin for Outlook. And so in addition to actually being able to email your client, you've got the additional contacts on the file there as well.
Yep. So this could be third parties, other side solicitors, estate agents. If we're in another area of law, it could be medical experts, witnesses, whatever it may be. All the data's in there nice and easy. But really the focus of this is taking it away of having to open up another system and work in that particular way. So what I'll do is I'll just send the email. So that email's been sent. The other thing I'll just quickly mention here is, again, to try and automate as much of the process for efficiencies as well. For those of us who time record, I can prompt it that it will automatically start a timer for the time recording that email. This can be the same for documents. So again, I'm not missing that 1 minute, 2 minute email, which I could forget. And over a case of a file, 100 files, we're missing a lot of profitability and time. It's saying to me, prompt me, please just time record. So I very simply commit that, and we time recorded. The other thing I do, which I've just set up now, is we also understand that some people prefer to use Outlook. They may be going in on a database basis. I just want to open up Outlook and deal with all my emails nice and easily. So again, we're given the option to do that. So if I simply want to create an email, I can simply click on new email, as I would do normally. The slight difference here is it gives me the ability to link this email now to Insight. So again, exactly the same principle as we've seen. If I simply type in the file reference number, it could be name, could be partial search, whatever it may be. It's saying, right, this is the file. Simply click on there. And then as we saw before, we get the same options. So I could send this to Mr. Stephen Meinl. I could send this, as Josh said, to maybe the third-party estate agents. I can put the subject in there. Regarding the sale, happy with that, type in my email, send the email, and that again will be automatically filed within Insight itself. So that's a very
I just had a quick question actually just pop up there, and I guess this relates to the I guess the matter reference that automatically gets put into the subject line there. Somebody's asking whether that needs to be in square brackets. I think automatically it populates it as square brackets, if I can find my tongue. But yeah, it is automatically populated as that with square brackets on, and that's obviously your unique identifier. But also if that email is replied to and it contains that matter reference, it automatically populates that stores that document in the matter files. If somebody does remove the matter reference, somebody may look at the email and go, I'm not sure what these extra digits are, and either removes them, or changes it accidentally. I guess that there's two additional ways to then drag that file.
Exactly. So we understand, again, it comes down to that choice. If you don't want those brackets and the name, you can just delete that, but then you'll lose that facility of the automatic filing of the return email. But again, that's not a problem, because as I'm sure you can see the link come in, there's multiple ways we can deal with incoming emails. So again, I'm going to show you a couple of the key ways. Don't get too wide, it's very confusing, it's going to add time. You'll choose whatever works best for yourselves on a day-to-day basis. So let's take the real world example. At the moment, emails come in, you may print them off, you may keep them in your outbox. Again, you've got maybe potential issues with GDPR for your internal policies, because if you have emails on your mobile phones, you keep them on there. If your mobile phone goes missing, there may be potential issues. So ideally, what you want to do is you want to file that email within the virtual file. And again, going back to what I said about people who want to become paper light, we don't really want to start printing off all our emails and put them into paper files. It's expensive on printing costs, and it's the most efficient way to work. So let's have a look at how those emails can be dealt with when they come in from the client. So I'm just going to open up my little email box here. And as you can see here, I've got a few emails that come in. Stephen Meinl's a very busy client of mine. He's emailed me continuously, but we can deal with those. So again, we understand how busy people are. So very, very quickly, I can have a quick look at my email box, say, actually, the green has meant that they have already been dealt with and they've been filed within Insight. So I don't have to worry about those particularly. I know I've dealt with those already. The yellow ones, actually, we haven't sent those to Insight. We need to deal with those. How are we going to deal with those? So in the most general basic terms, one of the simplest way to deal with incoming emails, I'll just open this up, is I can simply drag and drop an email into the right file. Nice and easy. I can manage that. I can select multiple emails. So maybe one of those people who like to deal with my emails in the day, I can just filter them through, select a load, and drag and drop them into my particular file. Nice and easy, nice and effective way.
And then once it's deleted from Outlook, obviously you've got a copy of it there. So I guess if you are concerned about I guess having emails in your Outlook or on your devices, then you feel free to delete them from there, because you've got a copy of it in Insight there.
Exactly, and it all comes on how do you want to manage those emails. And again, we give you the choice. Some people like to do a folder structure within their system. Some people just say, I've dealt with that email, I can now delete it with the knowledge it's safe and secure within the cloud. So let's have a look at a couple of other ways we can just deal with emails. I won't spend too much time on this. I just want to give you a flavor. There's those who may want a little bit more control on how they manage those emails. So we have that famous right-click facility. So if I choose an email which has come in, this one's got a document. I may see the email, but actually say, what I want to do is I just want to save that document within Insight. So again, you'll see a general theme coming in within the system. I can simply right-click And you can see here, I can send all the attachments or single attachment to Insight. Simply click on there. It brings up a little box. I can simply type in the file. So again, I have partial lookup, whatever I want to do. Look up the particular file, choose it's the correct file. And then what I can do, I can send that file into Insight. Nice and easy. And again, I can do exactly the same with emails. Send to Insight. Again, choose a file and then send that to Insight. So again, we have multiple ways to do the same action and whatever works best for yourself. And again, I just want to make the point is the reason we give you so many options is to be efficient. You've got to do it the way you want to do it. Otherwise, you just won't do it, it won't work. So that's very briefly how we deal with emails. And again, that's probably going to be a large percentage of our day. Emails in, emails out. So nice and simple, nice and working.
And I guess, are we going to talk about kind of document templates? Obviously, I guess with workflows, we get document templates that you can use.
Yeah, so I'm just going to cover that now. So with regard to the emails, I sort of mentioned very briefly, there's some documents where we can attach documents, we can deal with the documents, but how do we create those documents? So there's sort of two ways to do it. One's a bit more manual, and one can be an automated process with workflows. So I'm just going to very briefly cover a couple of the key ways, and then it should all link together, hopefully. So within our system, I'm just going to make this little box a little bit bigger so we can see this. We have document production. So within this, we can have our multiple templates. These are letters we created, which we want to run on a regular basis. This can also be done for bespoke documents. So you just open up the system and run all your blank letters through there. Okay. So let me just open up a letter very simply, nice and easy. On this basis, I'm just going to do a very simple client care guide for this particular client. So simply choose which document I wish. Okay. Just what I've clicked on there, what I wanted to say is, because obviously everybody works in different areas of law, different practice, this is all definable by the type of matter you have. So again, if I'm working in a family matter, if I'm working in litigation or employment, I won't see all the documents related to conveyancing because that's not relevant to myself. I just see documents relevant to what I'm doing. And as you can see here, I now have the option to send that letter to either Stephen Meinl, Sarah Meinl, or both. Okay. What I have done, just for the purpose of this, and if I just quickly click on here, with Mrs. Sarah Meinl, I haven't put an address in. I just wanted that on purpose because, as you can see here, the system's warning you to say, oh, you're missing some information. We can't produce a letter because we haven't got an address to send it to. So again, that removes all the hassle of typing out a letter, creating the letter, going, oh, I haven't got the address now. It's prompting you to help you speed up that process. So I just want to send a very simple client care guide to Mr. Stephen Meinl. I can simply click on who I want to send it to. It's just checking that's the right letter. And again, I simply open that up. It opens up Word. We're all used to Word. And what the system has done is asked me, or has pulled through the information I've asked for to do on the template. So it'll be your letterhead, your footer. I've set this up to put my reference number, the date, the address. It's also pulled through some information which I put into the system already. So as you can see here, it's pulled through who the other side solicitor is, also what the price is. So again, I'm not opening up Word, typing out the letter, trying to remember who the solicitor is, trying to remember how much it was. All the data is pre-populated if I've asked it to do that. And again, it's a Word document, so I have the ability to change anything I wish to. And in this case, for example, I know this person very well. I don't want to address them as Steve and Mr. Meinl. I just want to address them as Steve. And again, you have the free option there. Happy with all that document? I can now send that document out as an email, as we've seen before. I can print that document if I want to post it, or I can simply save it in the virtual file to deal with at a later date. So I'm just simply going to close that off and save that, and that document's saved in the virtual file. And what I'll just mention here is, as with the emails we saw, I can set this up to time record, again, promptly to time record on that letter, or set a default time for that letter. I don't have to worry about that. So I'm, again, not missing those 2 or 3 units, which I may do on my day-to-day working.
Brilliant. Are you going to also show us how to produce multiple documents with just a few clicks?
Yep, so I just want to show one other thing, Josh, and I'll come on to that. Okay. So the other thing I just want to quickly show is the ability to obviously do that with forms as well. So we do integrate with a form provider, and we have coming up in the new year, I believe, a couple of webinars on how you can integrate with form providers' legal precedents. But for example, for those who do conveyancing, if I want to run the TA13 form, exactly the same principle. choose who I want to send it to, open that up. That will open up the particular form, as you can see through there. And again, it's pulled through all the information it can do, reducing the time I need to fill in the information. Okay.
Brilliant. And I think it's also worthwhile mentioning that because you're on a residential purchase, I guess, file here, that all of the documents in those templates, are specifically for residential purchase based on the type of matter. So you're not scrolling through hundreds of different documents to try and find the right one.
Exactly. So nice and easy. So Josh actually mentioned there, how can we make it even more efficient? How can we really sort of help that bottom line profitability by stopping us having to go backwards and forwards? And this is how we can integrate things called workflows, which are really a sort of prescribed process on how we do the file. It's not taking away our value add for the legal work. It's just reducing the need to do the logistics of having to open up documents here and there. The other benefit is for those organizations who maybe bring on board trainees, have administration staff who do some of the work, or maybe have paralegals who do some of the work. They can do a lot of this preliminary stuff themselves by following the process. Let's have a look how that works just with regards to documents and emails in these circumstances. So again, I'm just going to look at the introductory stage of a conveyancing file. If I go onto the tasks for this introductory stage, the first thing it's saying to me is what we need to do is produce these multiple documents. Okay, so client care guide, T's and C's, proof of funds, and the purchase questionnaire. Historically, if I haven't been using utilization of the system, I'd have to go in, drag all those documents, find them, print them, post them, or email them. But very, very simply, I can say, yep, what I want to do is I want to produce all those documents. Very, very simple. I can talk through this, simply produce all. And then what that's done for me now is give me the option to produce all those documents. It's asking me who I want to send them to. So again, I can send them to both the clients or just one. And I'll just send to one for the speed today. And then again, what's important is although it's giving me the option to mass produce those 4 documents, if I want that control mechanism, and it's always a balance between efficiency and control, I can still open each one up individually and change any details I want to. But if I'm happy with that, I can simply mark that as complete, and I've now created those particular documents. Nice and easy. And then we can go to the next stage. So that's really one key area of how you can really automate the process there. So it's prompting me to do those and speeding up the process by mass producing them. That's all really good. However, we also want to look at the efficiencies of emails. And what we can do now is we can template emails. So rather than having to go into the system or go into Outlook, retype the same email I've done 5 times already today, I can either create a templated email, or by using the workflows, again, I can very, very simply send a templated email out and again, time record. Okay. So that's, again, a bit of a flavor on how using the automation of the system and how we can use the document production emails to really speed up our day-to-day processes, day-to-day working. Okay. One final thing I just want to show is that's great. I've created documents, I've created emails. I want to go Paperlite. What do I do? Where are they? So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes and just quickly show you a matter file. So this is a file where I've created all the emails and all the documents I've created. We can see here everything we've done. It's all in one easy place to access. Again, I can filter these on particular matter type of folder. I can filter these on particular date created, date modified. If I want to, I can do a search. So I can simply search for a particular file. There we go, nice and easy. So I can manage those documents. So no longer am I having to go into the system, go into my paper file, search through those. I can quickly access them. If it's an email, I can hover over and see what the email was. If I want to open the document, I can click on it. If I want to send the client an email, I can right click and email that to a particular client. So I have full management of those. And again, I'm going to preempt a question which normally comes up here. If I want to, I can create a folder structure and have all these documents in relevant folders, email to, email from, client, forms, client care guides, introductory letters. So I can create a file format. Okay. I've gone through that very briefly, but hopefully I've given you a flavor of how emailing and documents can be automated, efficient and effective, but we still put that control mechanism in there, which again is very, very important. So I'll hand back to yourself, Josh.
Fantastic, thanks, Stephen. And there was just one quick question that came whilst you were talking there, and it was somebody asking about whether they have access to the Outlook and Insight integration on standard for non-enterprise customers. I believe you do, and you just need to ensure that you have the Insight Legal Outlook plugin installed. And if you're unsure about how to do that, then please get in contact with our support team. Yeah, it's quite simply at support@insightlegal.co.uk. Right.
And it's such a simple thing, but it will. I've been doing legal software for a number of years, and it will revolutionize how you work by these simple processes.
Excellent, no, fantastic. I may come back to you on some of the other questions that we've got. But I guess kind of in summary as to the benefits of an email and document management system, I've kind of broken these down into 4 key things really. And I guess the first of these is to cut wastage. And by that I mean kind of spending less time on tasks that you can semi-automate. And that could be using templates for documents, but also removing some of that manual copy waste routine and being able to auto-fill information in a document from the case file, as Stephen demonstrated, and also the ability to produce multiple documents with just a few clicks. And there's also the issue with everyone who needs access to the documents and emails on a matter, with them being stored centrally. It means not having to wait around for someone to forward you a copy, or waiting until someone is back in the office from sick leave or holiday to move things forward on the case. And similarly with reduced rework, yes, there is some setup required with document and email templates and the merge fields within them. But that should allow anyone working on a matter to step in and see what's been done already and what's still outstanding, and confidently be able to action the next steps. And I guess, also one of the things that we've talked about here is really about kind of removing some of the errors where you're relying on people to manually enter details into a document. If you've managed the client onboarding effectively, really kind of right at the start, and captured all the information that's relevant on the file, there's less room for error on inclusion of the right pieces of information on any correspondence. So take, for example, as Stephen showed you there, conveyancing file. If for example you're inputting the property value, whether it's leasehold or freehold, and ensuring the right correspondence goes out to the right person, whether that's your client or a third party. Okay. And coming back really kind of onto the point I made earlier about the ability to delegate tasks to support or junior or members of staff, that can be done more effectively if you're using workflows to manage and measure what's been done and what's still outstanding. Okay. We have, I guess, a couple of other questions that have just come through. One of those is, can I access documents on multiple devices? Yes, absolutely. So yes, you can have Insight Legal installed on your work PC, your laptop at home, but also things like mobile devices. There is an Insight Legal mobile app as well, so which gives you access to all the documents on the file, but there's also kind of time recording on the mobile app as well. Okay. And one other final question here, because I'm conscious that we've kind of run slightly over time here. Yeah, we currently use Insight Legal. How much of this do we currently have access to? I think everything that we've kind of shown here today is available to both of our standard plus enterprise customers as well. And okay, perfect. I think that's kind of everything that we wanted to cover off. I guess kind of just in terms of, I guess there's one other quick question, which I guess we're going to have to take offline for the moment. So let me just close that one. And yeah, I guess just in terms of next steps, as I mentioned, we will be sharing a copy of the video recording, so keep an eye out for that link, which will come up to you via email. Anyone watching this as a live session or recording, and you'd like a demo of Insight Legal and some of the features that we've talked about today, then please feel free to reach out to me directly on josh.dallywell@insightlegal.co.uk, and you should also see my mobile number there as well, or you feel free to email the team here at webinars@insightlegal.co.uk. Okay, and as I mentioned, in the next webinar, we'll be looking at advanced legal accounts. If you'd like to receive more information on that, please again send through an email through to the webinars team here, or visit the community stroke events page on the Insight Legal website. Thank you, Stephen, and also my colleague Nathan here for keeping an eye on the QA tab. And thank you all for participating in this webinar today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.